My name is Dana Johnson, and this is another episode of Pink Perspectives powered by the Pink Table Talk. I'd like to introduce you to my guest, Chenedy Wiles. Thank you for joining me today, all the way from Los Angeles, California.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to be able to share the story as to how we met. So, the one important thing that I like to emphasize is that social media is extremely important, and you never know who you're going to be able to engage with just by those pure, instances. And the fortunate thing is that her mom and I are friends, and we are also friends via social media. And one of the things that I admired right away about you is that your mom posted in her Facebook story one of your TikTok reels. And I thought that that was like super cool because that was really like on my vision board that I wanted to incorporate that within the Pink Table Talk brand. So I'm excited that we were able to make that connection.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like social media has definitely connected so many people in, this area of time, this part of history. It's so easy to connect. So I'm glad we were able to make this happen via TikTok and Facebook.
Great. And speaking of history, with March being Women's History Month, it was important for me to be able to share stories regarding some of the things that were a part of my vision when I began the Pink Table Talk. And part of that vision was not only to have breast cancer survivors, advocates, and family members, but to incorporate discussions with nurses, doctors, and scientists. And I've been fortunate, and I thank God for that fact that in the month of March, for Women's History Month, we will have three separate conversations with nurses. And this conversation today will take place with you. So thank you again for joining me.
Of course.
So, a little bit of a backstory as to why I thought our connection was important. And I'm looking at, again, some of the things that are important to me in regards to Women's History Month. And I wanted to just give a salute to those women who have paved the way for you and I. And one of my motivators and inspirers and just all around just women that I look to for advice and for guidance is not someone that I know personally, but I believe that you, our listening audience, are familiar with. And that is Oprah Winfrey. She had a series on the OWN network that was regarding Super Soul Sunday. And one of the quotes was, "Your life is always speaking to you. The fundamental spiritual question is, will you listen?" And
Mhm.
today I am listening by being able to look at all the various aspects of how we can come together and we can talk about some of the important things regarding breast cancer and regarding why it is important for women to schedule annual mammograms. As a nurse, can you tell us your perspective on why you feel that it is important for women to schedule annual mammograms?
I'm going to be speaking as a nurse and then as someone who has had cancer affect my own family. So cancer is unexpected. It's the big C. You really never see it coming. And the amazing thing, how we have come so far in medicine, is that there are things in place to catch it early, which is what we always want when it comes to any disease, really. But we want to catch it early, which is why getting an annual mammogram is so important because you don't start feeling the signs and symptoms of breast cancer until later on down the line, maybe even stage 2, stage 3, possibly even stage 4, where your options become more limited. So getting that annual mammogram can kind of ensure you for the year that you're okay. And if you're not okay, it can catch your cancer early to make it more treatable.
Wonderful. Were there conversations within your home, being that you are one of three siblings, that your mom or your grandmother or even your dad would have had with the three of you to be able to discuss from their side and their perspective why it was important for their daughters to know that this is something that they need to make certain that they schedule it just like you would schedule anything else on your calendar?
So growing up and even today, I feel like as the three daughters, our health to our parents and just our family is very, very important. So they have always been very honest, and we've had very open and honest and crucial conversations about women's health and what it means to be a woman and take care of your body. And that includes scheduling things like your annual mammogram. So I absolutely love my parents. I feel like I had the best childhood ever. I would not trade them for the world. So they really instilled amazing qualities in me, including women's health and beyond.
Wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about why you decided to take the journey and walk down the road of being a registered nurse? What sparked that in you?
So I knew from a very early age that I wanted to go into the medical field. At first, it was an OBGYN, coincidentally. And then it kind of moved over to psychiatric and mental health. And I wanted to be a psychiatrist. And then as I started doing more research, like one of my teammates at the time was like, hey, this is what you want to do, right? Like you want to do these things. Why don't you look into nursing? And I looked into it, and honestly, it just checked every box of what I wanted to do. And specifically, I wanted to work in critical care. So the ICU or intensive care unit. I always wanted to be where the action is happening. I wanted to be in the room where it happened. So after doing that research, I was like, and I was going into my freshman year of college. So I had just graduated high school. And I was like, this is perfect. I want to do this. I want to help people. I want to have a safe and reliable career. Everybody gets sick. Everybody's going to need a nurse eventually at some point. And I want to make a difference. So it all led me to nursing, and I'm really glad I decided to go down this path.
I love that. I love that. So I noticed that you have on pink scrubs. Can
I
you
do.
share a little bit about why the pink?
Why the pink? Well, for one, it's so cute. I love this color. Pink is my favorite color. Um,
Okay.
two, spreading awareness about breast cancer is something that is also very important to me. And I feel like the pink scrubs really gets a conversation started and gets
Mhm.
things going, and we can end up talking about that, which is something that I really love to do. These scrubs were actually sent to me by Fabletics. They are a leggings company, but they just started making scrubs. So they saw, again, goes back to the connection via social media. They saw what I was doing over on TikTok and Instagram, which is just educating newer nurses and talking about what it's really like to be an ICU nurse. Like, what are the things that I see on a daily basis, and how can I went through all this studying and all this schooling, but how can I make it simple? How can I make sure that everybody understands? Because medical literacy is something that is also very important to me that not a lot of people have, especially in our Black and Brown communities. There is a huge barrier of what we're saying in our medical jargon and lingo and what is then understood and absorbed. So my whole purpose of doing TikTok and being Nurse Ken on social media is explaining these things that might affect you, might affect your family in a very simple way, so that when it does happen, you can understand and you'll know what they're talking about. So yeah, Fabletics saw that, they appreciated that, and they sent me over this pair of scrubs.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And that transitions us to the next stage is, again, I mentioned that I saw your mom post one of the reels, and it piqued my interest because it also checked off one of the boxes that I was looking forward into getting into and expanding the brand. And I thank you. And I feel like we can maybe release the secret now via this episode
I think we can release the secret.
and let everyone know who is viewing today that you have accepted the role of being able to be our face for the TikTok and Reels that is going to be releasing this spring with the Pink Table Talk. So thank you.
Yay, I'm so excited. Thank you.
So Please stay tuned for some of those interesting TikTok reels that you'll see. And for all of you who I know are big social media followers, make certain that you check out Nurse Chen, because you'll be able to see a lot of the things that she's going to be bringing to the table on behalf of the Pink Table. And we are very blessed and very thankful for your mom posting that and making this connection.
Mm-hmm. Me as well.
Are there things that you feel that once you and I had some conversations behind the scene that you felt after watching a few of the podcast episodes as to why it was important for people to come to the table and to be able to share their stories?
I think in any case that knowledge is power,
Mhm.
and having knowledge over people sharing their stories, knowing these stories makes you better equipped to deal with your own stories, which is why the Pink Table Talk is so important, because you're bringing up these issues that a lot of women have, but they maybe don't have the resources, they don't have the people to talk to about it. And it's so nice when you're dealing with really any issue to be able to listen in on something and to know, like, oh, I'm not alone. Somebody else is going through this, or someone else has experienced this. Someone else feels the way I feel. So that's why I think it's so important that, first of all, the Pink Table Talk exists. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
But also so important that people listen in, because you're talking about real issues in our community.
Exactly. Speaking about community, and you also talked about just brown people in general, there are a lot of health disparities that people don't really touch on unless it becomes, unfortunately, like around election time. And
Mm-hmm.
those are the stories that hit the news, and those are things that need to be spoken about like annually. So we're bringing attention to them and making certain that our voices are heard and that the resources are being disseminated just across the board and that no one is being, left out. Do you find in your nursing career that you come across people asking, just more questions of people who look like you and I in regards to their health coverage as it pertains to breast cancer or any form of medical questions that you may get on like a daily basis?
Um, Not necessarily. So my home unit, what my specialty is critical care.
Okay.
So I deal with extremely sick critical patients of all diseases, right? So it could be cancer, it could be liver failure, it could be heart failure, it could be kidney disease. So it could be all of these different things. And a lot of the times the patients that I am um, caring for are intubated and
Okay.
sedated. So we're not really having a lot of conversations.
Okay.
On the off chance, they're kind of at the end of their critical care journey and they're getting better and they're extubated and talking. Something that I do to make sure Black and brown specifically, but really everybody understands what happens. Like the doctor will come in, tell them all this information, give them all the results from their tests, like just really load it up. And the
Mm-hmm.
doctor will leave the room and I'll go up to them like, hey, what questions do you have? Not do you have any questions? What questions do you have? Because I know you have questions and that's okay. And I'm here to kind of help you understand and ease you through whatever process you have to go through next.
I
So I
love
really
it.
like to break it down for people.
And that's so rare nowadays that, and it's so important just to be able to give people that peace of mind. Because
Mm-hmm.
not only are you in hospital, and most people that is like their biggest fear that they do not want to go to the hospital or they don't want to go to the dentist. But to be
Mm-hmm.
able to have someone like yourself to come in and be able to just give them some peace of mind and alleviate any stress that they may be feeling after they've, just gone through this nightmare of surgery, and to just let them know that no question, is off the table, and it can just allow them to be able to feel just a little bit more secure as to what they're going through and what they're experiencing. So I'm sure it's greatly appreciated.
Absolutely.
Now, as we were talking, I mentioned that you have two siblings and two sisters. Do you all have conversations in regards to just like healthcare, just amongst yourselves? I know you said that it was an open conversation within your family, but just sharing as sisters.
Yeah, so me and my sisters, they're twins, Cami and Cassie. We are very close, like very close. There is not a conversation that we have not had. Um,
Okay.
and I, as the older sister, I really like that role. I'm very serious about being a big sister. So I make sure I'm opening the door for those conversations, just about women's health and sexual education. Like, again, just like my patients, I want my sisters to know there's no question too silly. There's nothing off the table. You can ask me anything, and I will do what I can to provide you or let you know what resources are available to you. So yes, we've had very in-depth conversations about women's health and, taking care of yourself and what that looks like.
I love that. Are there any last words that you would like to share with the audience as to why you thought, again, that it was important to be able to have a seat at the table, wrapping up just the importance of annual mammograms, and any last tidbits about just your travel nurse experience in general?
Um, Okay, those are a lot of different things. So I would say, wrapping up the mammogram conversation, get your annual mammogram. Ladies, get your annual mammogram. Those preventative measures are so, so, so important to your health, and they could really save your life. I'm not exaggerating. I'm being so serious. Getting an annual mammogram saves lives, period. So moving on, about travel nursing, I'm so happy that I was able to have this travel nursing experience. I moved from Wisconsin to California. I was supposed to be gone for 5 months. I packed everything I could fit in my car and I just left. Of course, my
Wow.
parents knew, but I just drove across the country. And a year and a half later, I'm still in California. I'm still in Los Angeles. I haven't been able to leave. The weather's so nice. But I'm so grateful for the opportunities that it's brought me, for the people it's brought me, and to be able to experience different healthcare systems. I feel like it's helped me understand that nursing is, even though it's the same, it's not the same everywhere, depending on your facility, how many beds you have, the type of doctor setup they have. It's all very different. So I'm grateful that I was able to kind of experience all of those things before I settled down into a staff position.
Awesome. Do you feel as though having that experience now in 2023 and coming off the cuffs of the pandemic, that it allows you to be able to have more exposure to a lot more things just because there were so many crucial things that we experienced from 2020 to present date?
Yeah, absolutely. So I graduated nursing school in 2019, right
Okay.
before the pandemic hit. So growing up career wise in that setting was really like baptism by fire. Like, there were things that we were doing that no one had ever seen before. So because of that, I got a lot of experience really fast. And although it was horrible, it was very horrible. um it it made me a better nurse, and it made me better equipped to handle anything.
I love that. I love that. Well, I thank you again for joining me for another episode of the Pink Table Talk. And in addition to that, coming on now as a part of the team. And
Yes.
we look forward to seeing what you'll bring from the social media, TikTok, real world, and be able to add that additional component to the brand.
Thank you. Yes, I'm so excited to get started with you guys.
Thank you so much. For those of you who would like to find out more about what the Pink Table Talk has to offer, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and now via Nurse Kennedy. You can also find us on TikTok Reels within the upcoming months, the spring. And you can also find us via our website, thepinktabletalk.org. We appreciate everything that was contributed within this episode and look forward to having you view many more episodes with us. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, guys.